popping up in the comments. We'll get to those in a moment. So, what are you two planning to do tonight? I have a little pile of things. I'm reading the Point Horror Book Club pick for this month. Crazy. I think that's the right one, isn't it? I'm not out. Yeah, because this is the Wednesday one.
Snappo.
Yay! Is that on your pile for tonight as well? Excellent. I've just started it, and they just make me smile so much. Because I read The Forbidden Game for the January one, which I've read lots of times before, but I haven't picked up a new point horror for a while that I've never read. And they're sort of pure cheesy fun, aren't they? They're great.
It's just such easy reading. It's just, and it just makes you laugh. I don't find them horrifying. I just find them funny. I just think, yeah. And there's these tropes within them, like the neglectful parents and people doing stupid things. It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful reading.
And it's that thing of when I first read them in the 90s, that was probably the first time that I met some of those tropes, like the babysitter trapped in her house. The first time I came across that was The Babysitter by R.L. Stein. So it's nice to read them as an adult now and be able to see in hindsight that all that was there, because I don't think I realised the first time. I was like, what's a trope, So I'm hoping to read a bit of that. I'm kind of at a weird point writing-wise because Mina 3 is coming out, so I'm kind of thinking about that.
Yay.
I've just started a new project, and I'm doing a freelance project too, so I'm like, I haven't got my teeth properly into anything that's mine. So tonight I'm going to do a bit of freelance writing and then start getting into my current project a bit more, which is literally just a few words on the page at the moment. It's nothing. It's barely even a character. I've got a loose idea of a plot and a loose idea of a character, and that's it so far, which is a bit scary. So what are you planning to... So point horror mainly, Sharon, or are you going to dive into some other stuff?
So yeah, I'm going to start that, and then I'm also reading this, which is a Japanese horror short story collection. This was in the Abominable Book Club box. It's translated Japanese horror. So that's actually quite good fun. It's very dark. And then I'm also reading this one, which is Gareth Marenghi's Teratome. Which I've actually got the book of as well, but I'm reading it on my Kindle. So I'm kind of flitting. I'm also rereading Mina.
Oh, yay! For Kirsty's book club.
For Kirsty's book club. Because I offered to go on the live with her at the end of the month if she wanted me to. So, and also refresh my mind for, the new one coming. So, yeah, I'm halfway through that.
Highly recommended. I never have time to do that when I read a series, and then I always really regret it because I spend the first half of the book trying to remember who everybody is, like what's happening. I think if you can immerse yourself in the world again, it's really nice. You have to tell me if you notice anything when you read book 3. Like in book 1 she said this, in book 3 she said that.
It's just getting the characters, the characters as they were at the end of the first book going into the second book, and characters at the end of the second book going into the third book. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously there were people lost during those times, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So it's just knowing where I am in the universe, really. So but I'm loving it, and it's such a beautiful book because I love the black of the pages, and it's it's fun to read.
The only problem is with the third book, that's not going to have those edges because book 2, it caused so many problems. I don't know whether it was the paper, whether it's because it was a thicker book, but loads of booksellers had issues that when theirs turned up, like the edges have been sliced off and stuff. So they were getting like weird stripes in their edges. So this one, the third book, isn't going to be matching in that way. Everything else will match, but it won't have the black edges because UConn looked at it and they tried to figure out what had happened, and it just...
Perhaps it just doesn't. Perhaps those and you do find with those kind of books, the coloured pages, they do tend to be shorter books. You don't find it very much in bigger books, so perhaps there's an issue with the formatting when it gets
and book 1, it never seemed to be a problem, but loads of them on book 2, I noticed them when I go to send them in bookshops, because some bookshops don't send them back. But there's like these white lines in the black, which is annoying to some people.
My copy's got white lines in the black.
Yeah,
and doesn't bother me.
And I don't want there to be loads of returns because, like, on my royalty statement, I see how many returns, and it's like, oh, and UConn can dig into the reasons, and that seemed to be a problem for some booksellers. So, yes, that would
be... It's the story that matters, not what it looks like.
Well, exactly. And the thing is, when you're taking pictures of it, like I do on my social media when it finally arrives, like you'll see the cover, won't you? So it was one of those things where I was like, we could do this again, but if it's going to cause a problem for people... I know some people want it to match, but I would just rather it be right and not be a mess. And that's kind of where UConn was as well. So,
As long as the
Yes.
spines match, I think most people are happy. Do you know, as long as the spines all match. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
It
mean,
doesn't bother me, I have to say. I'm quite happy with hardbacks and paperback. It doesn't bother me at all. But for some people, as long as the spines look the same, they're happy, you know?
yeah, I mean, again, though, mine, I've noticed that sometimes there's a very slight variation because of how they're cut. I didn't realize that when books are printed, they sort of leave a little margin for error around, and so that
Yeah.
when they're cutting it, and sometimes like they just cut a little bit closer to the line, sometimes they cut way over the line. So generally they look fine on shelf, but sometimes I see them in a Waterstones. If they've got a few, I'm like, oh, that one's a little bit, because I'm a bit like that. I notice things like that. I'm like, oh, that one's a millimeter down. Yeah, in theory they all match. And hopefully when you've got 3 along next to each other, they'll look nice. But you know, so yeah, that's a warning for everybody when their copies of book 3 arrive. It doesn't look quite the same. So how about you, Kasia? Sharon seems to have an enormous stack as usual to work through.
Yeah, I have my stack over there.
We're all the same.
So I'm finishing Good Girl, Bad Blood because I have like very little left. But last night I was done. I've been really busy with work this week, and so every time I tried to read, it was at night, and then I fall asleep basically. So I have like a little bit left. So I'm gonna finish that, and I have This Wretched Valley, which I'm reading from my Patreon's book club. So I'm probably gonna read a chunk of that one, and we'll see if I finish that. I might start something on my Kindle as well. I'm also reading Mother Knows Best, which is a short horror story compilation. And it comes out in May, but I got an early copy from my Kindle. And it's really interesting. It's like short stories and poetry, and it's all related to mothers, but with a horror spin, and it's quite interesting.
I've had a mother thing this month. I've had Mother Death, which I've just finished reading. And then I'm also reading this one, What Kind of Mother, which is...
I want to read that one too.
Which is a proof I got, which I think is out now anyway. But
yeah, it's out.
There's a mother theme, isn't there?
Yeah.
I tend to steer clear of mothers just because they're the ones that get a bit too close to the bone for me. So you have to tell me.
That one's got a dead child in, so you wouldn't like what's the name.
That these mother-focused ones,
they may be dead. Everybody thinks they're dead.
Yeah,
but it's deeply disturbing. Yes, good.
I'm struggling with I've tried to read 2 Stephen King books this month, and both of them I've DNF'd because of that, and I'm like, oh no.
Which ones did you read?
The Outsider was a really big mistake. I was just like, no.
Yeah, I really like that one, especially the second half of the book. Yeah,
second half's better.
I wonder if I can push through it, but the scene describing what happened to young boy was really graphic, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
And then Desperation, there's just a random.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Mine too.
Again, I think it might be a short thing. I'm going to try and push past it in that one, but I just had to put both of them down for now.
I feel like Sharon and I were separated at birth.
Yeah.
I think it's true. I can't wait to meet you. You know, we bought our Yelk ticket. I bought my Yelk tickets the other day.
Yeah. So excited.
I was so excited.
It's the 10th anniversary arc as well.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty special, this one. I'm going regardless. They haven't, I think applications come out soon for authors to apply and their publishers to apply.
You should be there because Mina will be out this year. Yeah. So you should be there, really.
Yeah, and I mean, I may have other stuff coming out in the future as well. So, you know.
She's such a tease, and she can. Honestly.
I'm expecting a private message after this.
Oh, well, nothing else, nothing this year. That's as much as I say.
Okay.
I bought the ticket with the goodie bag because both me and my husband have got the goodie bag ticket.
Oh, cool.
And Carl says, well, what am I going to do with a goodie bag from Yelk? I'm like, I've got several people who would like that, so don't worry.
I used to take Kev pre-Nathan. I used to take Kev to all the book events. We went to one with Alwyn Hamilton, and he got this limited edition short story, I think it was. And I just always did a giveaway of them on social media afterwards. And people had said to me, "How did you get 2 copies of everything?" I'm like, "Just take a Kev with me. Who doesn't
just
care.
Take a husband. Yeah. Just take a husband or some random partner, some random person off the street, and get 2 goodie bags."
Exactly.
I was surprised how cheap it was, to be honest, for a London event. I thought it was really reasonable. You know, because that's for both events, isn't it? For the Comic-Con and for the Yelk.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really, really cheap for a London event. So
yeah, I mean, as Kasia and I both know, you will spend more money while you're there. It's inevitable. But in
It's
theory,
fine.
you don't have to. Like now that you've done that, you can go to all the workshops, all the panels.
Mhm.
You can. Same with Comic Con. I think most of the panels you can are free. I think some are free, some are paid with the Comic Con panels. It's Comic Con photos. I'm sad they're so expensive now. I used to get
Yeah.
like 4 or 5
Ridiculous.
photos for £20 or £30 each. And Jason Momoa, I think the first time I had my picture with him was £30, and now it's like over 100. I just can't justify it.
I don't do those kind of things. But Carl will, but he's saving up for that. Depending who's there, really. Do you know who he wants to
Exactly.
see?
I
Because they
say I'm
won't
not
tell
going
that
to.
till later, will they?
No, I mean it depends. Like I've never met like David Boreanaz is somebody that I was like I'd have to do it if it's somebody who doesn't do conventions much. Like we
Yeah.
managed to meet Kristen Kroik. I never know how to say her name. Christine Krook from Smallville. She'd
Yeah.
never done a UK convention, I don't think. And we saw that she was going to one, and Kev and I were like, we're there because that was like Kev's teenage crush, basically. And we've always liked her as an actress, and finally got to meet her and sit her do a talk. And it was so funny. I looked at Kevin Nathan, and they were both just staring at her during the talk. I was like, clearly this is a familial thing that like this girl is and she was really enchanting to watch. Yeah, I just had a little moment of my 2 boys, bless them.
They got a couple of people there from the Comic Con. They had about 4 people, I think, announced already. But Carl's met them, so hopefully it'll be somebody else. Hopefully another Doctor, because he's a mad Doctor Who fan, And Colin Baker's there, but he's met him. So
yeah, they quite often get Doctor Who. Certainly some of this kind of supporting cast, and then the occasional Doctor. So fingers crossed he'll get a good one.
hope so.
Let's see who's in the comments then, and then we will get to our first sprint. Hi, Adrian.
Hi.
Hi, Stephen.
Hello,
Nice
Stephen.
to see all of you. It feels like it's been ages. Hi, Kay.
Hi.
Hi, Nadine.
Nadine. Which Dan Brown are you reading now, Nadine?
Hi, Andreas. Yes, we do need to know. Are we still on the Dan Brown books? Are you still enjoying them?
Hi, Andreas.
Hi, Andreas.
Great.
Ooh, I really want to read those. I think I've got the first one in the Strange Practice series, and I haven't read it. That is really good to know. I'll have to try and prioritize.
I haven't even heard of that. How have I not heard of that?
Nadine's not reading a.
Oh, you're reading Colleen Hoover now.
Interesting.
That's a bit of a drop down. To be fair, isn't it?
I've only tried one book, and I'm like, I'm done.
I haven't read any. I bought Verity because it's about an author, and I always enjoy books about people who write because I like seeing what the process is like. So I maybe will try and read that at some point. But every time I say that, people say, like, you just did Kasha. And I was like,
I tried one, but I think it was one of the earlier ones as well. And it was just red flags everywhere. I can't do this. It's not for me.
Somebody sent me Verity because they said, this is horror. You'll enjoy this. I think I did 5 pages. Yeah, she's not for me. But you might love it, my darling Nadine. So you might love it.
Yeah.
But she's not, the writing's not for me. No.
Yeah. That's the beauty, isn't it, of fiction?
Yeah.
How
it's all subjective, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that sounded so interesting, that with the deleted characters.
Interesting.
Oh, interesting. Not being able to draw Dracula's likeness. I always wonder about like the vampire mythology of, the authors choose to include and the ones that they leave out. It's funny how he obviously wrote that in but decided to take it out. Ooh, excellent. I hope you're enjoying
I've got all of them on my shelf. I need to get to them at some point. I really want to read the Pendle Witch one. That looks so good, but I want to read the other 2 first. But they're quite little books, so I'll probably blitz through them next week.
Yeah,
I'm off next week because it's my birthdays, and I'll have more books, no doubt. So, yeah.
That sounds like
I don't need any more books.
Oh, so is that that's the Dracula book, Joel H. Emerson? Interesting. Thank you.
Yes, I agree, Kay. I agree. I'm terribly excited. I've ordered it specifically from Amazon rather than Waterstones because I'll get it the day it's released. And Waterstones are a bit dodgy at the moment, and I can't wait. So I've already ordered the book and the Kindle, so I'll get them both on the same day.
Oh, thanks, Sharon. Much appreciated. I do that all the time with my favourites. I've bought quite a few of Rachel Harrison's books, either on ebook or Audible, and I'm enjoying them so much that I'm having to buy the physical copies too, because you need to have the physical one, don't you? Something you really like.
I do love her as well.
my brother here Oh, go ahead, Amy.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say I've become obsessed. Like, she's now one of my favorite authors, and I've only just started reading her books towards the end of last year.
I do love her writing.
Yeah,
I haven't
it's
tried
so
her
good.
yet, but
I think you'd like it, Kasha. There's a real. The horror is very mild because I can cope with it without wincing at all. But I think the feminist slant of it and like the edge to her characters is really interesting. Like, have you read Black Sheep yet, Sharon?
No, it's on my Kindle. It's really,
Very
I love the way she writes relationships. The way
Mm.
she writes female relationships is so good. The horror is mild, Kasha, really mild
Okay.
for us because we're used to more than that. But it's almost like a thriller horror in a way, kind of. It's creepy rather than horrific. But the way she writes characters and the dialogue is just exceptional. Yeah.
Mm.
Roxy
I love her.
Voorhees. I've just read a Fear Street homage anthology written by modern authors.
Oh,
And it's all based in Fear Street. It was an arc from Darklit. And Roxy Voorhees is one of their editors. It was
oh.
exceptional.
I really need
good
to read that,
collection.
Sharon. What's the name of it?
You're gonna. I know. I'll tell you. Keep going with the comments, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Because I forget in my head. You know.
I think I
Yeah.
need
It was
that. Hi.
It was a Kindle.
Hopefully, I'm not going to miss too many more sprints, Caroline, because I do. When I'm not doing them, I really miss it. Oh, I mean, I did the same thing with Stephen King books. I had all different editions, some hardcovers, some paperbacks, and I've ended up now collecting the Ultimate Storytellers and kind of going back. So I've got a matching.
My
lot of
husband
them.
loves Sharp. My husband loves him. Loves Sharp.
I don't know much about it actually, apart from that was the one that Sean Bean played. Was it on TV?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just
I
trying
need to watch it and probably read as well. I mean, I agree.
That's the dream.
Fingers crossed that the
yes,
that the
and
actually
hardcover.
I would absolutely. I'll put this out in the universe. I would love a hardcover book one day. I've not managed it yet. It's always in your contracts, like what they break down, like the royalties of what you'll get if it's a hardcover, what you'll get if it's paperback, serialized, or whatever. And I always look at the hardcover one, like, oh, one day they'll actually like tick that box. Thank you. I have already written something that I'm hoping that people will like. That is
there. It is. Reader Beware is called.
Oh, awesome!
And
thank
it's
you.
An anthology of it's a homage to Fear Street, but it's written by modern authors, so it has the same feel, that 90s kind of vibe, but it's got much more diverse rep. So there's LGBTQI characters, disabled characters, different ethnicities and religions, but has the same feel, a creepy kind of feel of Fear Street.
Yeah, that's definitely lacking in Point Horrors, and I know I've said that before when I've been on the live chats. Like, you really appreciate them for the time that they were written, but it would be good to see them with the kind of modern lens. Sorry, I didn't properly read that. Emotional support human.
Emotional support human.
Yes.
Yeah, I just did a reading blog for Valentine, and I read 3 of the old Fear Street books that had relationships in them. And my commentary was like, like, why are these girls thinking, it's like all like about jealousy, about changing your appearance because you want to impress this boy. And I'm like, what is this rubbish?
It was like in the 90s, though, and the 80s, wasn't it?
It's not
and
great.
it's very much of the time.
Yeah, like she's all that. You've got to
have you read,
take your glasses off and take your ponytail out.
Have you read Autumn Crow Fresh Hell yet, Kasha?
No, it's probably going to be the next one that I pick up. I need to finish a couple of things before.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good.
I just honestly think he's like the modern version of R.L. Stein, isn't he? Cameron. It's just exceptional. That I couldn't put it down. I was just like, what on earth are you on about now? Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, there are a few moments like that where you kind of gasp. I did an interview with them, and I don't think it was spoilery. It's probably worth reading it before you watch the interview. But he's so lovely. Like, he's really nice to talk to. And I think he's from the same estate as R.L. Stein as well. And yeah, he's really great. Great author. Very lovely person.
The body horror's great in that.
We are reading a variety of things. Sharon and I are both reading this Point Horror, and Sharon has a selection of other scary things. And Kasha has a scary things too. I wish I could instantly remember the titles. Too
Hi,
tired.
Chloe.
Hi, Chloe. Excellent. Ooh, good luck with the move.
Exciting.
Exciting.
Hope
Yeah.
it all goes smoothly. Hey, Am actually.
Hi, Rachel.
Thank you for saying that. I went to the farm today, which was super lovely. Yeah, I think
It's
that
true.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of the super popular authors are really divisive. Like if you say Sarah J. Maas, somebody will say that
Yeah.
like they're really moved by her books or they don't get it at all. And I find that really interesting that the really popular ones provoke such strong reactions in people.
Yeah, I think it's weird to me, that is. I mean, it's not my kind of. I'm a horror person. Do you know? It's just not my kind of thing.
Yeah.
But my best friend loves Coho, and she loves Sarah J. Maas, and she loves Rebecca Yarros. You know, the Iron Flame, the one with the dragons. It's not for me, but she loves it, and I love to see the joy she gets from it. You know, she gets so excited when she's talking about it, and that's what books are supposed to do. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. I still haven't read Angels and Demons, but I hear people always say that that's a really good one if you like Dan Brown to go
Best
for that
book
one.
by Dan Brown. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Brianna Morgan edited it. I didn't realise. I still need to read
Brianna
a
Morgan
book.
and Roxy Voorhees. Yeah, great name. Yeah, it's out in 2 days. Yeah, I read an
Amazing.
arc of it last month. Yeah.
Gonna pre-order that because I've been
It's on
meaning to
KU
read
as
it.
well, Amy.
I still don't have KU just because I don't want another subscription, but I probably do need it at some point, to be fair. I think I would save money using it, but I still like my physical books. I have this conversation with Kev all the time. They're just arriving all the time in droves of like faster than I can shelf them, and there's certainly no room for them all, but I can't stop. It's definitely the collecting books is as much a hobby as reading books, I think, for me.
I love physical. I love feeling physical books, but I prefer reading on my Kindle. It's just so much easier for me. And I can see myself completely moving over to Kindle at some points and then just buying the books I really love. But yeah, I am also running out of room.
My mum did that, and she's like you, Sharon. She reads maybe a book every day or two. Certainly, a book a day is quite, reasonable for her. So Kindle just makes so much more sense, and she tends to read a book once as well. And like, not, I don't think she gets as fixated on certain authors as I do. Like, she'll read all of Charlene Harris's books, say, within a few weeks, and then she'll just move on and choose another author. Whereas I tend to get like super obsessed, really need like all different editions of their books. And I know Kasha knows this feeling well.
Yes.
Favorite books, like can't stop.
I don't do that. I mean, but yeah, a lot of my friends do. They'll have if they really love a book, they want every edition of it. Do you know what I mean? I don't. I'm not bothered whether it's hardback, paperback, or Kindle. Once I've read it, I've read it. I rarely reread. There's only a few books I reread.
I've had to start
But
with
I do
Laini
like looking
Taylor's
at
just
them.
because every few months they bring out a new one, like Illumicrate will do it, Fairy Loot will do it, the US ones. And I've
They're
just had
so
to stop.
beautiful, those copies, though.
They are. I mean, I bought quite a few of them, but like they're all like 50 quid each or something. And I bought the Daughter of Smoke and Bone special Illumicrate one, and that was the last one I did because I thought I just can't justify spending hundreds of pounds on books I already own. I've had to stop.
It's like Babel, all the different copies of Babel.
Yeah.
I've got Babel on my Kindle, and I bought the hardback copy of it in a charity shop for £3.
Awesome. I need to get it. That's on my list of.
I don't need a pretty edge.
I keep picking it up in bookshops and going, oh, it's really long, and just putting it down. I haven't actually plunged yet. I've just noticed the time, so let's do a sprint. I'm going to do 2 40-minute sprints and then maybe a 30-minute one at the end, depending how tired we all are by that point. I know it's much later for Josh than it is for us.
I need a cup.
So let's do. Yes, I'm going to go make one in a sec as well, I think. So let's do 40 minutes, and I will see you all on the other side.
Happy reading.
Hello. Why does time move so weirdly on the Pomodoro Kitty? I looked and I said to Kev, "Oh, there's a minute left," and then the next thing I know, it's meowing at me, and I'm like, it seems to like bend time. It's either stretches out, like that sprint seems to last forever to me, but then last minute lasted about a second. How did you get on, both of you? I had a really good sprint. I've got enough of the freelance stuff done that I wanted to, and I read a little bit of this because I was like listening to an interview basically and transcribing bits of it. So the bits that I didn't need to listen as closely, that were just small talk, I was reading that, and then the bits that I needed to listen really well, I was typing up. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to do some plotting in the next one for my book. So how about you, Kasia? How did you get on? Which one did you end up reading?
So I wanted to finish Good Girl Bad Blood. And yeah, because I was so tired that basically when I finished the chapter where the plot twist comes and they tell you who is responsible for everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had to put the book down because I was too I was like, cool, thanks, but
I can't process this.
I can't. Like, I was falling asleep and then I hate it because I miss information. And when you're reading but you're not really understanding anything, you're just moving pages, but you're reading the same line over and over again. And I was like, I can't do this.
I can't wait for you to read the third book. The third book.
I'm scared because people have told me it's the worst.
Is that the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy?
Yeah.
Have you read them, Sharon?
Yeah.
So the third book, I would say, divided readers, and some people really loved it, and some people found it challenging. I won't tell you which one I am because it might spoil for you what it's about. But yeah, when you get to it, you'll know, and you need to message me immediately because we need to discuss it. But yeah,
probably
you'll know
next month because I'm trying to read one a month. So I read the first one in January, and now the second one. I really like that she changed it a little bit, and I was more like in a podcast kind of thing, and I really enjoyed that. I really like how she put mixed media into this one. So I'm excited for the third one, but I'm a bit scared because some people tell me the third one is not as good, and I'm like, I'm scared now.
I'm not saying anything. I'll let you make your own judgment about it, and then we can discuss it at length.
Yeah, and so I'm going to be reading this one next. I only got a couple of pages. This is This Wretched Valley.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen
I don't know
that
why I was leaning
everywhere.
forward, like that would help me see it. That's a good title. Who's that one by?
By Jenny Kiefer.
I've seen that everywhere, Kasia. It's all over Book Talk, isn't it? That book.
I'm going to have to look that up because it's funny how, like you say, it's all over, and I haven't seen that one around, I don't think, but I've also had my head in the clouds.
The premise really intrigued me. It's basically 4 people are going to climb this new rock that they discovered that nobody's supposed to know about, and so they're going to be the first ones. And yeah, and so the book starts with 3 bodies being
already. Like, you know, when you hear stuff like that, and you think, they're not all going to make it.
Sounds like fun. No, but the book starts like, and they already tell you on the synopsis. So the book starts with 3 bodies being discovered in different stages of decomposition and with different wounds and different things. And the 4th person is missing. So they only found 3 out of the 4. And they have been missing for 7 months. So that's how the book starts. And you're like, okay, what happened here now? Like, I need to know how did we get here? And this person that is missing, is it dead? Is it not dead? Like, what happened to them? So it has vibes of The Ruins a little bit for me, and a little bit of annihilation in it. Like, there's a little bit with the place that is off. So it's quite intriguing because you still don't know exactly what's going on. So yeah,
I really like The Ruins. Such a good book.
Is that the Adam Neville one?
Mm.
I still haven't read any Adam Neville, but I own several of them. But for something stopped me from reading them because are they a little bit extreme?
Like, they're dark, certainly, but I mean, I don't think they're extreme. They're very. The subject matter's quite dark. I even enjoyed the film of that.
Yeah,
I rarely like the films of books.
It's by Scott Smith.
Scott Smith, yeah, sorry, not Neville Smith.
Yeah.
Wrong person. But the film was actually really good.
Yes.
So I was quite impressed, really, because usually they mess it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very, very good. But it's dark.
Yeah, I can generally cope with dark as long as it doesn't get a pressure point. If it kind of skirts around stuff that I don't like, then I'm fine. I've enjoyed all the adult stuff I've read recently. I've got is Europea Falls, that's a YA, isn't it? I've got that waiting on my Kindle.
Europea Halls, yeah.
Halls, that's it. I don't know where Falls came from. I'm tired. Can you tell?
Yeah, I'm doing the interview with Alan live on Book Talk next Wednesday.
Awesome.
On my birthday, it's on my birthday, so he wants to do a live Q&A. So I said, well, we'll see how we get on, love. But yeah, so that'll be fun. But he's such a sweet man.
We've just followed each other on TikTok because I think somebody tagged me and you in something about him, and I commented, so he followed me back. But yeah, I'm hoping. I've nearly finished reading Payback's a Witch, this like witchy rom-com that's really fun. So that's the next book I'm going to read on my Kindle. Although I keep looking at the hardcover and going, I should have bought the hardcover. It's so pretty.
I've got the hardcover. There it is.
Nice.
No, it was yours, I think, that I saw and went, oh, I should have looked at the hardcover before I bought the Kindle one was cheap, so I can't complain too much.
I'm quite attached to the book because I was his first ARC reader, Alan. He'd only had a couple of friends beta read it, and he came to me from TikTok, and I was the first person he approached. So I'm quite attached to it. I've got a PDF copy of it. You know, the Word document, non-formatted, when I read it.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm quite attached to it, really. So I'm going to get the hardback copies. And everybody's copying me into the giveaway he's doing. I'm like, I've already bought them. I don't need them again. But bless him. Yeah, he's a sweetheart. We're hoping to do an indie horror author UK convention. August bank holiday. We just try and sort it out. I'm doing all the finance part. And Alan's coming over from Belgium for it.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, bless his heart. He's a sweet man.
He seems. I watched a couple of his TikToks and I was like, oh, I love it when I see horror authors interviewed. Like, they're usually the nicest people. Like, the darker the horror, like the nicer the person.
It's like, what do I call you? Because Alan Shivers is his pseudonym. It's his pen name. Based on a horror character. Not quite sure who. From some slasher, no doubt. Because he's a slasher fanatic. His actual name is Mikhail. So I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Belgian. Mikhail. But I'll call him darling. Saves that.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it, when you know people's pen names? I remember when I first interviewed Mia and we didn't know each other that well. I struggled with her surname is Kuznia. And my Polish accent isn't very good. So every time I said it, she was like, I'm really sorry. Can we start again? And we just giggled a lot. I think yours are probably better than mine, Kasia. Like, I think you're,
I think
you're going to be more in touch with this than me.
It's like all the characters in European Halls because they've all got European names, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I actually looked them up so I could pronounce them properly. So that when I did my review, I was pronouncing them right. I mean, some of them you can guess, can't you? But I wasn't sure how to pronounce Olivia with a W. And I was just like, I just need to find out, really. But yeah, he's a sweetheart.
Oh, it's tricky because all different languages. I've taught some Polish children, and so I learned some of the pronunciation of certain letters. And I know Spanish has certain ways of pronouncing certain things. I'd love to know more languages, but I'm English with a touch of French, a very small touch of Spanish. Like, I did teach Spanish briefly, but I don't think it stuck.
I taught English as a foreign language in Russia, and I was taught, so I can speak a little Russian, and also in South America, so I can speak Spanish a little. Cool. But the trouble is, you don't use them in this country. You don't use them, and if you lose them, don't you? So I find I can listen to people speaking in those languages and understand it, but I'm not confident enough to speak in them anymore because I just don't. I'm not around people who speak it. So I can understand it, but I don't know if I could actually speak it anymore.
I think in France as well, I go with my sort of broken A-level French and say something that sounds quite convincing, and then they say, "Oh, vous parlez français."
Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it? It's the problem.
I don't really parler français. I know set phrases, and I could have like a fake conversation in French if you were talking nicely back to me with an English accent. But I think French people talk really fast. As we
and also they teach you stupid things in at school, don't they? So, you know what I mean? I think one of the phrases they taught us was, the pen of my aunt is in the garden. When are
Oh
you ever
yeah.
going to use that in France? Like, you're not going to use that, are you? Do you know what I mean? I was just like, I need to know how to say hello and please and thank you and how much is a room and where's the bar? Pretty much. I can say that in 50 languages.
Funnily enough,
But
in German, I
it's
can say
polite, isn't
one.
it?
In German, I can say 1 water, please, 1 beer, please, and that's all I can say. And that was all I needed to know when we're in
I
Germany.
love German. It sounds like they're throwing up on you. It sounds like they're going to kill
I'll
you.
throw up on you anytime I speak German
But
fluently. I'll do
But
it.
you know what I mean? It sounds like they're going to kill you, doesn't it? And yet,
Well,
Germany's every German person I've met has been the most lovely person. But when they go full throttle in German, I think, oh my god, are they killing someone? It's just comes across as such a violent language. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
Dutch, you're in the Netherlands, aren't you, darling?
yeah.
And I used to work for this. It was actually in Brussels, a charity called Mission Oost. You know, it was based in Belgium, but the CEO was Dutch, Holland. And when he used to go full pelt, I'd be like, "What?" He sounded like he was throwing up. I couldn't understand a word he was saying.
It's something to do with the consonants, isn't it? And I find
It
it really
is.
interesting. Like my son said 20 today, and I was like, 20? He's 3 and he's already adopting like Americanisms. 20. I think
I'll tell you
actually I
something.
said, where did you get that from? And he said, from Bluey. And he said something like, Australian people say it like that. And I was like, you know, maybe they do, but you're English. Come on.
I think in English people generally we're quite ignorant because everywhere we go, everybody speaks English. So it makes us lazy, I think, generally. And but it's great because a lot of kids' programs now they do like Makaton and sign language and all sorts and on different languages, and I think that's fantastic because kids are like little sponges, taking it all in.
Yeah, Nathan was watching one the other day that was, I think, Handy Manny, where he's sorry, Kev's head just popped down and surprised me.
It's usually an head or a leg, isn't it?
Yeah, he speaks Spanish and English, so it's quite nice. Like he's talking about the names of his tools in English and Spanish, and I can hear him like Nathan's just repeating them to himself.
That means that this year at the Alc I'm only speaking Spanish to Kev. Okay, noted.
Yeah, and I mean to Nathan might, if you tell him the names of tools, he might know them. It's a very niche. I'll get him to watch some Handy Manny before then. Right, I think it's
heads again.
Yeah,
seeing him in the mirror now.
And another thing, I've got a book, a character called Kai Lan, and there used to be a TV show called Ni Hao Kai Lan that I used to show my year 2 children about a little Chinese girl, and I must have found one of the books from when I was a teacher, and it has the Mandarin words for things in. So of course Nathan's asking me to read them, and I was like, oh no, I haven't prepared for this. Like my Mandarin pronunciation is 0. I had no idea. So poor kid has learned a fair bit of my version of Mandarin as well. But,
that's a really complicated language.
Yeah, I mean,
most Chinese people can speak Mandarin or Cantonese, but most of them can't write it fluently. It's so complicated. Beautiful to look at though. The work, the imagery is beautiful. I think. I always think it's funny when people have them written on them in tattoos, and you're like, that probably doesn't say that, does it? It's bound to be wrong. It probably says something completely different, like 2 ducks went for a walk. Do you know what I mean? I think it's really funny. That cultural appropriation thing kills me off.
Yeah, I know, and it's just, I don't think I'd ever get another language written on me, just partially for that reason. Cultural appropriation, no, and also not being confident in what is written on me, just no.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think people outside of Britain, they tend to be much more fluent in different languages.
Yeah.
I mean, like Alan, he speaks about 4 languages.
Do
you know what I mean? So it's just, I think it's much more encouraged because it's just so much easier to move around the continent.
Yeah, well, I think in Belgium they speak Dutch and French and kind of like they speak a different type of Dutch. It's not exactly the same that we have here.
Yeah.
So you get like, and Belgium is really close from me. It's like an hour away with the car. It's like.
I love Belgium. Brussels is one of my favorite cities. I love it.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times. It's great.
Yes, it's a pretty city. Bruges as well. I love Bruges. Yeah.
I went on a school trip to Bruges, and that's the only time I've been to Belgium. I need to go back because I don't think I fully, at 14, got what I needed to out of the place. I think I just wanted to eat chocolate when I was there, and like I think you had to be 14 to drink too, and we were 14 on a school trip, so it's just really bad. I wasn't really
I
into
do,
the idea of drinking them, but some of my friends were, and it was not good. There
I
was,
do love the Netherlands though. I've had a lot of wonderful hen nights
oh really?
in Holland.
I
And
haven't been
hen
to Holland at
weekends, and
all. I need
yeah,
to go. I'd love to.
it's great fun.
Right, I think it's time to. The comments have gone quiet, so let's go to a sprint. I'm definitely going to do this one 40 minutes, and then I'm quite tired, so I'll see whether I can like summon the strength to do another one after that. So yeah, definitely a 40-minute sprint, and then hopefully we'll do a 30-minute one at the end. I'll just set the
Got me
timer up.
tea.
Excellent. I've got a bottle of water down here somewhere, and then we'll see you on the other side. Hello. That was a fun sprint. I just went down a research rabbit hole. I didn't actually do anything new. I just started like digging into stuff that I think I might be interested in for my next book. And yeah, ended up
Did
with
you
lots
disappear into Google? Did you disappear into Google, Amy?
You know when you do the thing where you read a really strange article and then there's a link to something else within the article, so you click the next thing and then the next thing, and before you know it, I'm not going to tell you what I was in, but it was pretty wild. So I've copied and pasted the good stuff onto a Word document to properly digest tomorrow. Yeah, that was fun. That was what I was doing.
I grew up without obviously computers. So,
Yeah.
You know, we had, if you wanted to find something, you'd have to go to the library.
Yeah,
and find it out. So I'm constantly fascinated by Google. Just all that information at your fingertips, it blows my brain, really.
It's quite scary for modern kids because I wonder what their mindset will be. Because, yeah, I used to get things like, I don't know, research how an Egyptian mummy was made, and you can find that within 5 seconds. But I'd have to go on those Encarta CD-ROM discs. We'd got physical encyclopedias, you know, dictionaries. I would ring my granddad. That was the main thing I did. Like, Granddad, tell me about this thing. And Granddad would be like an introductory guide to anything. Particularly World War II, bless him. He knew absolutely everything because, you know, he lived through it. So, yeah, I do find it interesting what the psychology will be, because Nathan generally, if he asks me a question, he'll say, just ask your phone, mummy. And I can't remember what it was, but the other day I said that we needed something, and he said, "Oh, just order one on your phone." And I was like, "Oh God, he's got the world's lust. He knows that information is found in the phone, and the phone is used to buy things." I don't think he realizes that things cost money, and it isn't just an endless supply of toys, books. You know,
he's 3.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to worry about that stuff yet. But it does worry me that they have access to so much information that.
Which isn't always right, may I say.
It's not exactly.
And it's often like, say, a lot of kids I know, we're not at that stage yet, but my friends' kids who are like 7, 8, and 9 will flick through like YouTube stories and stuff, and they're just seeing a constantly filtered brand of information, and it's so scary that they're not looking at anybody's real faces. They might be looking at AI, they might be looking at somebody through a filter.
It's overstimulating. It's very overstimulating for them, isn't it? You know, it's everywhere, isn't it? Everything's so quick. You know, they won't wait. Even like tonight, we had trouble getting on StreamYard, didn't we? And I was getting frustrated, and I thought, I grew up at a time when, you know, it was dial up before computers came in, and you used to wait half an hour with that going on.
Yeah, I remember that.
And now I've got no patience because it won't work straight away.
You used to turn your computer on, didn't you? And then go make a cup of tea, make a snack, maybe make your whole dinner, and then come back and your internet would be on.
And it might be on by then, maybe. Yeah. So, you know, but I'll get impatient now, and I grew up without it. So for young people, you know, if their internet goes, if they lose their internet, I suspect they're lost, you know.
I had to like unplug the landline to connect my internet, you know, so it's like
yes
you have to choose.
Do you want to talk to people or do you want to go online? I didn't even have a phone in our house when I grew up. We didn't even have a landline. You used to have to use the phone box. I'm very old, Kasha. I used to have a phone box at the bottom of the road, you know what I mean? We didn't have a landline until I was about 8 or 9. You know, we didn't have a colour television until I was about that age. So, but even now, I'll get annoyed if it's not right away. So I do worry they get overstimulated, bless them.
It's a whole other world. I mean,
it is.
Nathan's pretty good at when I say, like, you know, we had a really long car journey the other day, and it would have been easier to have 2.5 hours of tablet time. But I was like, I'm going to break this up with some books and stickers and playing I Spy, and because he's used to that, it's fine. But I can imagine the temptation. Sometimes I probably do let him go on his tablet too long because it's easy. But you can imagine kids spending 1 hour on it, and then that becomes 2, and before you know it, the whole day is passed with just flickering screens, flicking stuff in front of them. You know,
all these people, you know, actually gaming so long that they die. They actually don't move from the chair. It's a big problem, isn't it, in Japan and in Asia, where they just play. They don't eat, they don't sleep, they don't drink. They're just obsessed with, and they just die. And you just like, these are young people. I find it really worrying sometimes. Even though I love it,
Yeah,
I'm lost without my phone. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? If we as adults can kind of mostly step back and see it. But I have done the thing where I'm like, how long have I been playing on this game? 3 hours. 3 hours.
Yeah,
Like,
I
3
know.
hours has
You lose
passed.
time. Yeah.
And then you realise that you really need the toilet and you've not had a drink for 3 hours either. And that's as somebody that I consider, I consider myself to be relatively sensible. Hi. Oh, thank you for coming on. We're just about to wrap up. I think I am going to do a last half an hour sprint. So if you come to join
I love
us,
that. I love that book. That is my favourite Stephen King book.
I'm going to pick that one
even
up next.
though
I should have
it's not a
listened to
proper
you.
horror, but it's still my favourite as story he's ever told.
Yeah.
It's just exceptional.
See, I've seen the adaptation of it, the James Franco adaptation, so can't attest to how great it is. But I really enjoyed that, so I think I'd probably enjoy the book even more.
I love it.
Need to. It's on my stack that I want to read soon.
You corrupted me, by the way, Amy, because one of my favourite short story collections by Stephen King is The Night Shift, and I saw a copy in the new covers, and I thought, I'm gonna have to get that because that's just too pretty.
Oh, you're on the slippery slope now. Welcome.
Yeah. I've got all the rest. I've got them all. I've got some of them. I've got from the 70s. My copy of Carrie is an original copy from 77.
Wow, that's cool.
I mean, I can't read it anymore because it falls apart. But so I've no intention to buy it. But it was just so pretty, and I thought, I'm going to get that.
There is a Carrie, I think the anniversary edition coming out in March.
Beautiful. Yeah.
If you want a new copy.
Oh no.
I do love that book. Yeah, I do love it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, I do that all the time. Like the interactivity of these things is very confusing. I generally invite people on screen and don't know if I've actually spoken to them in real life or I've just watched them a lot on YouTube. Excellent.
Yeah, Night Shift's good. I love great stories in The Night Shift.
It sounds like you're having a proper Stephen King event. This is what I need to do. I keep buying these books and I've hardly read any of them since I bought them. I'm like, I need to stop doing this because they're coming out in like 5 or 6s, like several times a year. And I'm just like handing my money over without reading these books. And then, like I said, I've had 2 not great experiences, but I think I'll be brave. People keep saying Desperation's really good. I have a feeling it's not going to be a big focus. So I might just push through that scene and see if I can get over it. We'll see. It's like testing myself, isn't it, to read something like that? But
he writes, and his output is exceptional, really, isn't it? And not everyone's going to hit. It's just not. I don't like all of them. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just.
They're not the quickest paced books either. Like some books, that you just need to push through a chapter or 2 and you'll get to the good stuff. With Stephen King, it might be like a couple of 100 pages before you get to the good stuff. So I think if you're not really feeling it, it's maybe worth not. So yeah, I'll see. Those 2 might have just been not examples for me at this point, but
I do love the earlier stuff. I love Gary Salem's Lot, Pet Cemetery. They were much more fast paced because he was writing those when he was on drugs, I think. So they're much more fast paced and not so involved. I think that then he veered off a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I don't like The Dark Tower, which is blasphemy for most Stephen King fans, but I find that really boring.
I read the first one and I did like it, but I don't remember feeling like strong feelings either way. I think I probably need to read. I do own them now because I bought the blooming Storyteller editions, but I need to actually probably see if I like them.
Nice.
That sounds fascinating. Sharon sent me a list. You sent me the Stephen King list
in chronological order. Yeah.
So I'm going to try. The problem is I've read quite a few of them, like not in order, so I don't know whether to just go back to the beginning of his list or just dip into the ones I want to read. I need to figure out. I think it's
also useful to find out some of the books you might not have realised that were released. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
yeah,
I think it doesn't matter. You don't have to read them in the order. I don't think, because you've got to be in the mood for stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, I like knowing orders of stuff, and I like knowing threads. Like the Mr. Mercedes series, I'm enjoying on Disney. So I went down a rabbit hole of finding what Mr. Mercedes references are there in Stephen King books. Like I want to read all the other ones, and I want to read Holly, but it's not in the Ultimate Storyteller edition yet. So I'm like, oh.
I'm with Kasha on that. I DNF'd Holly I know you forced your way through it, didn't you, Kasha?
Yeah.
I
It
just,
gets better in the sense that it gets less, but it's still annoying. But I was enjoying the second story, like with the couple and stuff. I love those parts so much. Those were my favorites. When they were
Yeah.
talking about the people that were disappearing and this and stuff.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part. Not the holy parts, but not because of the character, because of all the political stuff going on.
It was just a little bit kind of smack you over the head a little bit, wasn't it? You know what I mean? And I just got bored of it. I just lost interest. I'm looking. He's got a new collection coming out this year, hasn't he? A new
Yes,
short
I
story
have it
collection.
pre-ordered from
I do
Waterstone.
too. Yeah, me too. From Waterstones, and I do love his short story collections. He does write a great short story, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think generally in the short story collections there'll be maybe 1 in 5 that I'm not as enamored with. Whereas a lot of short story collections, I think every other one you might not be with it. But I really like most of his. And even if some of them don't land for you, you still get something out of it, I think. Like some of the ones that I didn't enjoy that much still play on my mind. Like there was one, I don't remember which collection it's in, to do with water supply. Do you remember that one? It might be Nightmares and Dreamscapes about this guy was obsessed with trying to find a clean water supply.
The Bazaar of Dreams.
It could
Dream
be.
Bazaar one.
I randomly listened to the audio of it, and it kind of, I didn't enjoy it at all because it was just so unsettling. Like it was too unsettling that it felt like I was being scratched on my, like, all over my skin as I was reading it. And then the ending kind of went where I expected it to.
Oh, I love it when a story does that.
Yeah, but I've thought about it ever since, even though I don't think I enjoyed it as an experience. It's when you go down a rabbit hole like that, and then you have to start like finding editions elsewhere. Sleepwalkers 1992. I don't think I've seen that. I feel like you will have done, Kasha.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, I have a bust of one of the characters over there.
Oh, I thought you might have. Is that a Stephen King thing then, or is that something else?
Yeah, it's Stephen King. Yes.
See, I own lots of them.
Maybe you should read Misery because you like books with authors.
I loved Misery.
Misery is fantastic.
I read it for the first time either last year or the year before, and I thought it was excellent. Like it was one of the rare ones where the pace, although it's really long, it kept me going all the way through. And the fact that there's so few characters in it, but it's just so compelling.
Dolores Claiborne is a good one to read after that. That's also a really good book with fewer characters, and his style is one of those things. It's kind of sometimes he hits and sometimes he doesn't, but I like things that are very heavy prose, you know. But sometimes I'm like Fairy Tale. I thought I didn't like that at all, but I'm not much of a fantasy person, so that's probably why.
Doesn't appeal to me, that one. Interesting. So
wow,
you're really going for
it. Wow. Yeah. No. And that's probably why I didn't like Dark Tower, because I don't like fantasy really. So
yeah, Mia, my friend, picked up Fairy Tale as her first Stephen King book, and I was like, oh well, it's interesting because if you like that one, I would say it's not probably, from what I've heard, representative of his normal style. So, and I said you need to read something like Salem's Lot as well, just to kind of compare, because that will give you a more like a true historical Stephen King.
I'm with Kasha on this. I prefer Richard Lehman if I have a choice.
Yeah,
I just think his stuff's just so much darker and far more horrific. And,
yeah, that's the thing. You say that though, and I'm like, yeah, I'll stick with Stephen King. I think I'm okay.
Hearts in Atlantis was lovely. Yeah, I love the short story collections as well, Mina. I do. They're just easy to pick up and put down, and there's some fantastic short stories he's written.
Needful Thing is one of my favorite ones as well.
I love Needful Things.
Yeah, I love it.
It's such a good book.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Such a great story.
I read it, I think, when I was 14 or 15, and I don't think I fully got out of it what I needed to. So I'm going to try and reread that one this year. That's on my pile that I really want to read.
Is that like, be careful what you wish for kind of story, isn't it? It's such a good story. When he does it right, he does it really well, I think. Although he started to resemble a horror character himself now, hasn't he? Don't you think? He doesn't look well.
Yeah, I've not really seen him recently, like in interviews and stuff.
I mean, he's old,
Is he? I don't know how old he is. He must be in his 70s, hadn't he?
I
I
think
would
so.
have thought. He
We
felt
can
old
Google
when I
that.
was a
You can
kid.
ask your
So,
phone.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. One of us needs to do it. I like it when people in these things like
yeah.
spot somebody that has like a kinship. It's really nice. See, I don't know who Grimmer is. Does anybody?
I'm guessing it's some sort of character.
Is it
I don't know if it's an anime character or not. I don't know.
76?
76.
Wow. I didn't realize he was that old.
He's
I'll
what?
forgive him.
I hope I'm still
76.
sharp enough.
Yeah, that's what I said. You know, he's not very young anymore.
And he's still
And it's
so
difficult.
prolific.
It's
That's
because
amazing.
it felt old to me when I was a kid, but in your head, you don't, what I mean? He was an adult when I was a child when I was reading it, right? But
Yeah.
as you get older, it doesn't seem so old then.
I
You know
remember
what I
thinking that
mean?
when my mum was 40, that was ancient, and I'm now, nearly there. And at my mum's 40th birthday party, I was like, my mum's really old now, and I can
Oh
I can
God.
really remember that day. Like my mum's an old lady now. I'm like, things have changed now. I've got to that point nearly.
I went to see a doctor last week, so I had to go on oxygen and stuff because I was really unwell. And so I went to see a doctor. It was a lovely doctor, but he was younger from my son. He
This
was
happens
like
to me more and more now,
27 or
Sharon.
something, 27. And he looked so young. And I thought that's when you know you're getting old, when the doctors are younger for your children. Because when as you're growing up, doctors always seem older. It's just
Yeah.
really, and he was lovely, and he was a lovely doctor, and but I just thought, oh God, that's it, Shaz. It's all over.
Slippery slope, isn't it, from here? Right.
I'm
On that
55
note
next week.
of slippery,
Yay.
bless you. On that note of slippery slopes, I am going to go to Last Spring because I can feel myself getting sleepy, and I'm like, if I sit here for too long, I'm actually going to fall asleep on camera, and that's not going to be good. And that's no reflection on the company; that's a
I need
reflection on my
chocolate.
brain. So let's do a last 30 minutes. I will jump to the comments and finish stuff afterwards, and then I think it'll be time for bed. So thank you everyone for the chat so far, and see you in half an hour. Hello. Just had a nice quiet last sprint, playing Switch and watching Sons of Anarchy, so didn't actually do anything productive. How about you, Sharon? Did you have a good read?
Yeah, I finished the translated one, and I'm just reading Teratome, and I'm just writing reviews, so I'm flitting from one thing to another, which is about right usually for me.
I like flitting. I find that flitting keeps me productive. Like I get a bit bogged down if I stick to one thing.
I even love the word flitting. Flitting is great, isn't it?
It does. It sounds fun even. How are you, Kasha? Did you have a good sprint?
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically falling asleep, so I just read as much as I could.
Yeah.
From the book.
It is late for you. It's late.
Yeah, it's 11:30 here. So, yeah. But I'm really enjoying this one. It's getting weirder and weirder. People are getting hurt, which I like to see. I mean, something's going to happen to them because there were 3 bodies discovered. So there's only one potential survivor, but we don't know if it's alive or not. But I really enjoy it. I think it has a really good combination of like different subgenres of horror, and it almost has also a little bit of the Shining vibes in a way, even though it's in a complete different location. So I'm really enjoying it, and I have just this little bit left.
Oh, nearly.
But so far, I recommend so far.
Excellent. Is it adult or YA?
I think it's YA. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds YA to me, but it sounds very brutal for YA.
But there is something in this book that was so brutal. Like I was reading, and it was getting to the end of the chapter, and I really like that the chapters are very short, and they are basically entries on what day and what time of the day it is for them to make it more intense. How the hours pass for them in this place. And I was reading a chapter, and we were getting to something really gruesome, and they were hinting at something, and I'm like, no, they're not gonna do that. And then they do, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like because it's a YA book, and I did not expect them to be like so brutal and graphic. So I was like, props to the author for putting it there.
Yeah, and the publisher for leaving it there, because I think authors often try with YA. We're like, can we get away with this? And they're like, nope.
Well, Holly Jackson told me that one day she's gonna get them to put the C word in it for her.
I mean, she can try. I managed the F word. I was like, I only put stuff like that in if it really seems right for the characters. I don't like it everywhere. And my publisher was like, yeah, if it needs to be there, then put it in. But I haven't tried the C word, and it's not my favorite word anyway, so I maybe wouldn't.
Sometimes the F word is the only word that is.
If you see a dead body, you're kind of probably going to say that, which is generally when my characters do. So that's why there's a few of them, because they see quite a few dead bodies. Oh, so it's a character from Monster, the manga. I still have that and have not read it.
I've tried some graphic novels, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I do like certain ones, but I don't read them that often, like the specific authors I read. Oh, it is fine. If you enjoy the sprints and we're just background noise, that is all good. I'm going to have to head because the little person is talking upstairs. He's done pretty well, actually. We've had 3.5 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's done really well.
That's quite a long stretch. So I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Thank you, everyone. It was lovely talking to you two as ever. I'm going to go and put little boys to bed and then put myself
to bed. Bye, everybody.
So, night-night.
Bye.